as a refinisher, is there one particular piece of furniture that you just don't like painting? For me, it's chairs. There's so much work and there isn't that much profit into them. I still do them. These are customs. It's a set of 8 with a huge table, you'll see. Let me show you why we charge what we charge and why we say they're devil chairs. Hey y'all, this is Eliana with Why Not reDesign. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks again for being here. So here we are. It's my mama and I, and we are working on cleaning and scuff sanding 8 chairs in a ginormous table. The table is about 144 inches long, or just over 3.5 meters. And I am going to try to figure out if this table is solid wood, so that I can, instead of painting it like the initial request was, I can actually strip it and make it a kind of pottery varnish restoration hardware type look. Anyways, that's what my customer wants me to do instead of just painting it. So I am cleaning it and then putting on some stripper, because sanding it alone wasn't going to do it. This table is a vintage table that has a very high gloss finish on it. So I went at it with my favorite stripper, which is Strip Ease. And the reason why I love this one is because it's super easy to clean up. It cleans up with just water, but you can apply it with a brush or with whatever, and then just after 15 minutes or 20 minutes of being on there, it comes off super easy. I love it because it doesn't dry hard as many other ones do. It dries, but not enough so that you cannot work with it. This one just allows you to continue to work. And if you're using one of these little spatulas that have like a little scoop, if you will, you can continue to just strip it as much as possible without actually harming the wood or anything like that. So as you can see, I am just working it until it's almost completely dry, and I remove as much of that stain, or if you're removing paint, you can remove as much as the paint as possible. You can see right there where it begins to dry, but it's still coming off super easily. And one of the things that I love the most about this particular stripper is that I can do a water cleanup. All I am doing right here is literally using a steel wool sponge, or not a sponge, but a steel wool pad rather, and I am using just plain water, doesn't have soap or anything, and it comes off super easy. I can apply this to the sides, the skirt, of course the leaves, and even the legs. I did one coat of the stripper on the legs as well, because the legs were just as stubborn as the finish on the top. After the cleanup, then you allow it to dry, or I allow it to dry, and then go at it with the sander. I started by using a 120 paper, as you can see right here on this table, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to have a lot of little squigglies and little damage the wood, if you will. But as you will see, as I'm going through the refinishing of this table, I actually did upgrade to an 80 grit, which in sanding terms, when you use a 120, it's actually softer than an 80. An 80 is a lot harsher on the wood. So I used 80 and it was just fine. So as I'm using it, my sanding paper, as you can see right here, gets a little gunky on the sides, but the paper is actually still pretty good. So what I'm doing is I am using a sanding paper block that is used to clean the sanding paper. I am gonna go ahead and put over here the name and everything. Is the ones that I use are only $6.99 for 5 of them. I literally have them everywhere because I use them all the time for all of my sanding paper. And what it does is it cleans it up, and then you can continue to use the same sheet. And it's amazing because it's gonna save you a lot of money because you don't have to buy as much paper. How cool is that? So that is my pro tip of the week. These last for quite a while. I've had that one in particular that I'm using for a couple of months already. So I'm gonna continue to just strip the entire table, and I am working in sections, as you can see, allowing the stripper to work on one side while I work on the other, or rather to activate on one side while I work on the other by cleaning it and sanding it. And I am going to do this throughout the table, the skirt and the legs. Every time that I'm using stripper, I always put everything, all of the stuff that you're removing from the table, whether it's paint or if it's stain, remove it, and I put it in a container that then goes onto the landfill where they handle those chemicals differently. It was pretty much a rinse, lather, repeat type of day because you're doing exactly the same thing. I wish I was working this fast. This process took me literally an entire 2 days. 2 days of sanding, stripping, cleaning, sanding, stripping, cleaning, sanding, stripping, cleaning. But at the end of the day, you will see how beautiful the table looks. So it's all worth it. Here's my husband taking the legs off of the table because it's just so much easier to do that and sand the legs on their own. That is the cameo of the week. Haha. I use my surf prep to finish the sides. The Festool is a amazing machine, but it's probably very harsh for this little sides and the ends. I didn't want to damage anything, and with my surf prep I can do this a lot easier. And on the skirt, what I call the skirt, which is right there, that side of the table that I'm working on right now. Then of course, like I said, the legs, I did a little bit of one leg and it literally took so much effort that I said, you know what, I'm gonna put one coat of stripper on this, clean them up, and then go at it after that. And it was a much easier process afterwards. I actually timed myself sanding each of the legs, and they took between 17 and 24 minutes each to sand them bare. So here I am starting to work on the chairs. Actually, I've already primed those 4, and I am bringing in the additional 4 to do. So I am using Aqua Lock, which is one of my favorite primers, and I am using it in the color black because the chairs are going black and it's just so much easier to do black primer and then black paint. Here's the deal on chairs. Each of the legs have 4 sides. Each of the arms have 4 sides. The backs have to be done, and then the tops of the backs have to be done. They just take a lot of time. That's one of the reasons why I don't like them. So between that drying, I am now going to be using Putty by Dixie Belle, and I'm doing a wash that's going to go on the table to remove some of the redness that is in the wood. I'm literally using 1 spoonful of that. That's a tablespoon. And then I'm using 2 cups of water. That's 1 cup. Mixing it very well. It was still a little bit thicker than I wanted it to be, so I did an additional cup of water. So that's 2 cups of water to 1 tablespoon of paint. And that is what I used to do my wash. Again, the color is Putty by Dixie Belle, and this is in the mineral line. So I am applying it. Here's my test right there. I'm applying it, and immediately I go right onto it and remove it. And then you let it dry. I only had to do one coat on the table. That is, it gave me exactly the color that I wanted, and that is the advantage of this paint color. It just, to me, is one of the most beautiful colors on raw wood. I'm doing it all over. One trick that I can give you when I do a whitewash, and everybody does it differently and it works just fine for everyone who does it. For me, I spray the wood a little before I apply the wash. It just makes it glide better, and it allows me to remove as much of it as I want to. It doesn't penetrate the wood as much, I think. But as you can see, it is very even. I'm doing it again on the legs, on the sides, everything. The entire table gets done. And as you can see, here is dry and is completely evenly applied. There is not too much on one side, not enough on another. It doesn't leave splatters or anything like that. So again, my formula is 1 tablespoon of paint and 2 cups of water. Spray the piece that you're doing it, just mist it, and then do the wash and immediately remove it. I allowed this to dry overnight, and then the next day I come back and I sand it lightly with a 220 or a 320 paper, and I remove any porous spots that may feel where the wood races after it's been washed. And it's perfect. It's perfectly smooth, and then I can go on and apply my top coat. Just 1 coat of top coat. Look how beautiful this looks. It's wet in some areas, but you can see right there that the wood, the grain is coming through very naturally, but it doesn't look red, and it does not look like it's painted either, which is what we were going for. So I am going to go ahead and apply 1 coat to everything. I sent my customer a picture and she's in love. We don't have to do any gray on it. She decided that this is exactly the look that she wanted, and she could not believe that this is her table. And I can't believe it either, because that table was so red. But it looks great. I'm starting to really love it. This is definitely giving me that extra push that I need to finish my own table that I have been working on for 2 years. Yes, I know, but you know what? I've been busy. I've been blessed with a lot of work, and my table, I don't need it. I have a kitchen table and I'm home very little time, so it's okay. I'm working on it, but I definitely have the push, and perhaps I'll do my table and show you all what I do too. It does have 6 to 8 chairs also that I have to refinish, and I don't want to do chairs. Even for myself, I don't want to do chairs. Eventually I will. I might, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I'll show you guys if I do. If you have stayed on this video with me for this long, I appreciate it, and please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment, and hit the notifications buttons as well so that you don't miss any of my videos on the weekly basis. Here I am giving the chairs a light sanding and then giving it the top coat. I did 3 coats of top coat on the chairs so that they're very durable as well. On the chairs, I used Dixie Belle's silk line in the color Anchor, which is their black is black, which I love. So these chairs are very well protected, not only because I am using an all-in-one paint, but then I'm giving them 3 coats of top coat on top of that on each chair. So there's the other point. Chairs take a long time, and then you have to do the paint and then top coat and all of that good stuff. Back to the table, I am giving it a light sand, a good wipe, and then adding coats and coats and coats of top coat. I ended up doing 5 coats, which I think it should be pretty durable after that. Don't y'all think so? As you can see, I apply my paint with one type of paint sprayer, and I do my top coat with a different one. Why? Simply because I've got used to it. This sprayer that I'm using is the Home Right Super Finish Max, I think is what it's called. I'll look for the link and leave it in the comment section. But I just got used to this one. It's easy to clean, it's super easy to apply, and I use it strictly for top coat. I don't do anything else with that sprayer. For spraying the paint, I am loving right now my Earlex 3500, and again, I do it because I had it for quite a long time. I did most of my kitchen jobs with that one, and since I am still working, or I am now working from two different areas, I work from home some days and then some days from my shop. I wanted to make sure that I have something at home and something here. I didn't want to buy anything else, so I'm using my Earlex here at the shop a lot more. So that's the reason why I have those two. I'm all about the details with everything, and so this little area right here of the skirt of the table that I am working on right now, it was hard to sand. The stripper didn't work very well on it, and then when I tried to sand it, I felt like I was gonna literally go through that thin part very harshly, and I might do something. It has like a little edge on it. Didn't want to damage it, so I ended up just leaving the stain that the table had, and I decided to just do one black line all the way around the table, and that just kind of gives it an additional little touch, and it looks pretty cool. It makes it more custom too, in my opinion. The table is done, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to stage it and show you guys what it looks like. My mom is helping me once again. This is a week later, but she's here on her days off to help me. Isn't that just what a mom will do? I love her to death. Look how good it's looking already. This is what the table used to look like, just as a reminder. And here is, you guys. I am in love. I can't believe I'm done. This took so long, between chairs and drying and top coat and paint and primer and sanding and stripping and sanding some more. But look at this table, y'all. I absolutely love it. I sent these pictures to my customer and she was stunned. She was like, that is not my table. It couldn't be, but it is. The table has beautiful grain that was covered with that stain. I'll never understand why we did this back in the day, but this is what they looked like before and what they can look like now. It's so modern. It is so up to date and so beautiful. There's a little detail that I added to it, and then that grain just pops through. The paint wash was exactly what it needed to remove any redness from the wood, and it just looks absolutely stunning. It's well protected, and it can be used for many more years to come. Guys, thank you again so much for sticking with me through this long video, but I think it was worth it. I hope it was. Please leave me a comment, a like, subscribe, and follow me for more. I will see you all again next week. Thank you so much. Bye.